Well, you've heard me talk a couple of times about how I believe that we are living basically in the suspension of our Bill of Rights, that at this point, if you don't carry the papers on you, your identification papers, the very thing that you were required to carry in Nazi Germany or in Soviet Russia, if you're not carrying your papers, and if you don't give them to the person who asks you for them, you can be charged with a litany of crimes for doing nothing more than failing to have papers on you that they can search anytime they want to, with or without your permission. This is getting absolutely out of control. There's a story actually in The Guardian, that's out of the UK, noting a lawsuit that was filed just yesterday here in the United States over these suspicionless searches that are now happening at the airport, where they're demanding people give them the passwords to their phones and even their social media passwords. What? Did you know this was happening? Have you gone to the airport and seen this? Apparently it's been happening not just once or twice, but thousands of times. In fact, in the month of February, there were over 5,000 suspicionless searches in just that 1 month alone. So, what would you do? You're going through the airport. The guy there says, hey, what's your password? You going to give it to him? What if you don't? Well, I'll tell you what if you don't. You can face criminal charges. That's what. And what kind of criminal charges are we talking about here? Well, it's failure to obey a lawful order. If you don't give somebody your lawful identification card, you can face charges of presenting a false identity. My mind is blown at how far we've gone and how people just basically say, well, anything to keep us safe from the terrorists. How many terrorists do you know that, or have you heard, I don't expect you to necessarily know any of them, but how many do you know of that are running around using their phones to commit acts of terror? This is not keeping anyone safe. This is keeping us slaves. And the more we submit to it, the less, and the less we think about it, the more we just comply, the more we're heading down a road of total slavery. And which, you know what, some people would argue we're already there anyway. It's just that most people don't recognize it. The fact that we're using paper that really isn't worth anything at all. It's just that what the government tells us it's worth something, and they can manipulate it anytime they want to with inflation rates and interest rates and everything else. The fact that we stumble through our lives looking for our next football game or our next beer or whatever, and don't spend any serious time thinking about meaning or purpose in life. We are generating wealth for other people. And worse, we are not living our lives to the fullest. Isn't that what slavery is all about? Well, something to think about. I know there's several subjects all crammed into this one, but think about it. Would you give up your password to your phone or to your social media account if you were asked to? And would you be willing to become a criminal over such a small thing as that? That's where we're at. If you like what I'm doing, please support me by buying a subscription at radiofreespeech.com. Or send me an email. We'll talk a little bit about whatever's on your mind. Steve@radiofreespeech.com. Thanks.